Did you or anyone you knew participate in any of the anti-government movements that began in 1984?
I personally didn't. I know some people, some friends, and my parents' friends that went to the streets to complain about the government and to fight for the democracy.
So how strict were the rules and laws? What are some of the laws that affected you?
The laws were like pretty strict. Uh, uh, you had to like follow certain rules, like you couldn't talk against the government. You couldn't like if you're an artist or a journalist, you couldn't express your opinions, something like that.
So did the government censor anything such as television, music, or art?
Yeah, they censor everything, like music, art, movies, TV shows, uh, literature, books, everything they censor.
Did you know or hear about anyone who was tortured or disappeared?
I heard about some people. Personally, I didn't know anybody. I know my father had some friends that were arrested because they were part of some student movements against the government. But I don't think they. I don't know for sure if they were like injured or something. I know they had to move away from the country for a certain time, but like I personally didn't know anybody.
What were your opinions on the last military president of the dictatorship, João Figueiredo?
Like I said, I was pretty young, and I, I don't know much, and I can't say much about him. I just know that he was, for for my age at that time, I thought he was a good president.
So how did it feel when the military was officially taken out of power? How did the country react?
There was a big commotion in the country, and and everybody was fighting. The whole country was fighting to get the democracy back in the country. So when they finally got it, the whole country was like partying, and everybody were happy, and like everybody else, I was happy as well.
Okay, so the first president elected into power after the military rule was Tancredo Neves. How did you and the other Brazilians feel about it?
Yeah, he was the favorite for the population. He was a huge fighter in Congress for liberty and for democracy. So everybody was hoping for him to be the president.
How did the country react to his death soon after his election into power?
It was pretty sad. Everybody was sad. The whole country was like pretty devastated because he was like a person that was gonna give like the country hope for the future, for the new democracy, and he was the favorite for the whole population. So I remember people crying about his death, and it was a very bad thing at the time. Everybody was sad.
How did the public feel about the vice president, José Sarney, who came to power after the death of Neves?
He wasn't the favorite for the population, but after all, he had to take power in Tancredo Neves' place because he was his vice president. So everybody was happy because of the return of the democracy. So people uh, they were like sad because it wasn't Tancredo Neves, but they were happy as well because the democracy was back in the country.
What were elections like at the start of the new democratic government? Did your parents get to vote?
Uh, Tancredo Neves and José Sarney, they were not elected by direct vote from the population. They were elected by the Senate and the House of the representatives of the state, the country. And to get the elections for the people to vote, they had to change the constitution, and that happened only in 1988. So people got to vote for the new president in 1989 only.
How did people feel about this way of electing officials at the start?
It was the first step for the country. So we were coming from uh, military government. So that was the first step for elections. So people were like happy to have a new civilian government and waiting for the next step that was to uh, to be able to vote for the next president.
So, how did your life change with this new government in
Uh, the new government, like it was like a democratic government, so they took out the rules that uh, were like against freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of you you like saying whatever you wanted to say and do whatever you wanted to do. So it was very good, and the hope was for better days.
charge? So, life improved greatly after the military dictatorship ended?
Like I said, I was a kid, so for me, I didn't feel much difference. But I guess, and I'm sure for lots of people, life improved very much. Like lots of people that were not able to do what they wanted to do, to say what they want to say, and to fight for some rights that they were not able to fight. I'm sure the life was improved.
So, how did school change along with the change of government?
Uh, School didn't change much. They changed some subjects that were like imposed by the government before, and some things that we had to do like every day before school began, like we didn't have to do anymore, like singing the national anthem like every day, and to like honor the military president, some things like that. So in school, things didn't change much.
So, did the laws of censorship improve with the new government in place? Were you and others allowed to voice your opinions like more?
Sure. Like I said, I was a kid and I didn't like have much to say, but I know people that needed to be heard and needed to express themselves uh, after a period of over 20 years. They were able to do as they wanted, like to write their songs the way they want, write their books the way they want, to comment politics in newspapers and in the media the way they thought, to criticize government and politics the way they want. So uh, life changed for a lot of people, yes.
How did the economy of the country change after the government changed? Did it improve or did it get worse?
At first, uh, it got worse, and the inflation that was already there went up a lot, and the economy was bad for I think the next uh, 5 or more years. It got a lot worse after that, and it got better like after the third or fourth Democratic president only.
So, how do you feel about the fact that the US and the UK played a large part in educating the military government interrogators in techniques such as torture and psychological warfare?
That's a bad influence. I don't think that's right, and I don't think that other countries like the United States, the UK, and even France had the I forgot the word,
The right?
the right to influence the decisions in the country. But like they had like financial interests behind it. Like Brazil had a lot of companies that were American, like the phone company, the energy company, the oil companies. They were all American. So with the new government before the military regime, the new government, they were gonna take over all these companies. So that's why I think they went there and they financially helped with the state of the military government.
Would you want your children living in Brazil during the military dictatorship? What about Brazil in present times?
Like I said, for me as a kid, uh, living at the military regime in Brazil was not bad at all. I would not have any problems have my children living there. Uh, I guess today with democracy and all the permissions that the government gives people, it's hard today for kids to live in Brazil than it was at that time.
Okay. So how do you feel about the current state of Brazil and all that is going on in the country today?
Yeah, Brazil is going through uh, a change of government. Uh, there was a party that was hope for millions of Brazilians that took power about 15 years ago. It was the Workers' Party, and it was hope for lots of people that thought that this government that came from the people, they would change things. Uh, they did change things. They improved the life for the poor. But after they got in power, they got greedy and they start like taking the money from the country. Like they took so much money with corruption, and the country is now going through a new uh, new movement from the people. People are fighting back against the corruption and all the politicians that are corrupted.